All right, so this is Photoshop Lab 2. Go to Digital Media website, Photoshop Lab 2. Here is your instructions. And this one, you're actually going to have, I believe, 2 images at the end. You're going to have this kind of photo, and then you're going to cut out and make it kind of like a oval wedding picture. And then you're going to do the same thing. Then you're going to cut out the moon and then put the moon into the Paris skyline. So we're going to do those 2 things. So first thing you need to do is actually download all the images. So I just right click, save link as, save it on my desktop. Do that for all 3 of them. Save link as, save it on your desktop. Save link as, save it on desktop. Okay, so once those are open, then I full screen this. Oops. Drag it to the side, and then I open up Photoshop. All right. So there are a couple ways to actually do this effect. So I'm going to try to do it their way. I'm going to have to remember exactly. I think we do this a couple different ways. So, okay, so they make a new. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is actually open all the images. So I'm going to do File, Open, and then I usually click and then hold down Shift to select all of them, or I can click on one, hold down Control, and then click the photos I want to open. So I do want to open up all the 2 ones. So what this lab is doing is using the ellipse selection tool. Yesterday we used the rectangular marquee tool. Now we're going to use the elliptical marquee tool, not the ellipse tool, the elliptical marquee, which is either a circle or a oval or something like that. So it works the same way as the rectangular marquee. You click and you drag out a circle or an oval. If you want it actually to be a circle, a perfect circle, hold down Shift, click and drag, and it will force it always to be a circle. In this case, it's actually going to be an oval. All right, so in this lab, we're actually going to make a new layer, a blank layer. So to do that, we're going to go down here at the bottom. It looks like a little page with a corner turned up. It's Create a New Layer button. So now I have a blank layer on top of this. This is transparent. So think of it as like a transparency sheet on top of the photo. And what we're actually going to do is actually going to fill this layer in white. The easiest way to do that would go to Edit, Fill, Use Color, White. Okay, let me show that again. Edit, Fill, White. Or you can pick a different color if you want to fill it with a different color. Okay. So now what happened is we have a layer on top of the picture that's completely white. So if I hide this layer, you'll see that the picture is still there. All right. So what I like to do is actually on this one is actually hide the layer, use the elliptical marquee tool, pick a good selection. That looks pretty good. Go back to the layer, unhide it. Let me try that again. So one thing, if you want to move this selection, you can actually hold down the space bar and actually move it. So you don't have to redraw it. So if you like the shape, but you didn't like the position, hold down the space bar. All right, so that's good. Oh, before that, I'm sorry. We need to change the feather setting. Which feather setting did they use? 30. I think we can probably get away with 15. Let me do that selection. So set your feather setting first, and then do your selection. Okay, so you do want to make sure you're on actually selected this layer, because what we're going to do is delete what I have selected out of the top layer. So to do that, all I have to do is hit the delete key, and there you go. So it depends on what feather setting you have, depending on how faded the border looks. So if you had 0, it would just be 0. It'd be a very hard line. So 15 works good. They say 30. The issue is the pictures they use are bigger images, and I've shrunk them down so they're easier to work with. So anyway, so there you go. That's your first one. So what you do is actually save this one as file, save as. Make sure it's a PNG, ellipse tool, done. All right, so and then this one, we're going to actually cut the moon out and then paste it onto the Paris skyline. So I'm going to select the elliptical marquee tool again. And if you can't get to it, I don't know if I mentioned this, if you click and hold, you can get the tools under it. Set your feather back to 0, because we want a hard line here. So hold down Shift, because you want it to be a circle. And then if you hold down spacebar, you can kind of move it. Might take you a couple times just to get this right. You want to get most of them. You want to get a pretty good selection where you don't have much of the black. All right. So there's a couple ways we can do this. We can copy it, edit, copy. We can go to edit, cut. Doesn't really matter. Cut would actually remove it from this image. Copy is fine for now. And then go over to ellipse tool 3, the Paris skyline, and then do edit, paste. Now what happened is the moon is now on its own layer. Okay, so I could hide this, show it, whatever. The issue is this moon is giant. So this is one of the most used shortcuts in Photoshop. So it's very important you learn this one. It is called transform. You can also get to it from the menu. You can go edit, transform, free transform. The shortcut here is Control T. That one is one you should just know because you use it so many times. Anytime you want to scale something down, hit Control T. It'll give you these handles to scale. Again, if you hold down Shift, it will keep the ratio the same so you can get it a good moon-sized moon. Now, the important thing about transform is once you've done or completed your changes, you either have to hit Enter on your keyboard or go up here and press the check mark on the sub toolbar up here. I just hit Enter usually. And then move the moon wherever you want to move it. You could have it over here. You could have it over there. You could have it like that. It doesn't really matter. I'll put it over here. So that's it for that. Hit File, Save As, Ellipse Tool 3, not PSD. You have to make sure it's a PNG. Very important. And then do dash done. Okay, so for this lab, you're actually going to submit 5 different photos. I'll show you. We can actually split them up in 2 different entries. Okay, so once you're done that, you can exit out of Photoshop. Go to Weebly website. I'll just do this real quick. This is, again, a review from yesterday of us doing this. Okay, so this is the one we did yesterday. Blocks. Let me remove these so we can redo them. All right, so for this one lab, you're actually going to have 2 different entries, I guess, 2 different images you worked with, or sets of images you worked with. So this one's going to be called, whatever you want to call it, weeding couple. Right. Wedding couple, image, and then image. So this one has the before image. Upload this one. Go, and then upload this one. Okay, and then a text box that explains what you did. Used, created new layer, new white layer. Use the elliptical marquee to cut out. All right, something like that. And then the next one will be title. We're going to call this one Paris Night. This one actually is going to have 3 images because you have the moon, the original Paris, and then the finished image. So when I have 3, I usually stack one image under it, the other like that. So these left is your beginning. Again, I don't really care which format you put it in. Y'all can mess around which one you like the best. And then the finished here. And then what I usually do is take this little bar. If you hover over it, you'll see a little dividing bar, and you can kind of snap it in like that. But again, I don't care the format y'all choose. All right, I get a little. Okay, and then here you just say used elliptical marquee tool to cut out moon and paste into this. There we go. So then after this, you'd hit publish, and it now would be live. So that's it. I'll go ahead and post this video so y'all can get it on the website.